Right, we first found out about John Allegro through reading the Michael Bajan books, The Messianic Legacy, The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. I can't remember which one it was, but within one of them books, or maybe both of them, there were brief mentions of John Allegro, saying that he had something to do with this whole conspiracy business at the time, like the Masons and the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. But what, we didn't know. Until a friend of ours, Jamie, years ago, he said, you want to check out this John Allegro, and what he's saying is really interesting. So we had a look at the John Allegro books. I read The End of the Road, which is like a later book after he discovered Jesus was a mushroom, and published The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. Basically, what we discovered, Allegro was saying, was that Jesus Christ was an allegorical story about the magic mushroom. The whole story about Jesus Christ, where you can find Jesus and all the rest of it, like in the stable. They found Jesus, the baby Jesus, in the stable due to the cow shit and stuff. But it really made sense. For the first time, read what Allegro was saying, that Jesus was a magic mushroom, and it was the sacred name, for instance, for the magic mushroom. Just like in the cultures where they have mescalito, which is a sacred name for peyote, and you know, it's like giving the spirit a name, the spirit of the mushroom, the spirit of the peyote. So the spirit of the magic mushroom was all the properties that were likened to Jesus. This was the first time that it made sense. I mean, at school we used to say, yeah, but how can it be a virgin birth? Wasn't God being a bit of an adulteress then, giving her a baby when she was already married with Joseph? And how do we partake of the flesh of Christ? You know, we're going to eat some man. Why? None of it made sense. But then when you read the Allegro findings, it makes so much perfect sense that to say that people have been doing this all throughout history, partaking of different plants, different fungus, things that trip you out or whatever, and then giving it a spiritual name. It just makes more sense. So, why did they lie? Well, the lie wasn't really a lie. It was more well, it was a lie, but it was who made the lie. The people that made the lie are who? The Sumerians. The Sumerian people, according to John Allegro, were the people that wrote about the Jesus situation. But it was the first pope, like Constantine, that was responsible for putting it out there as the lie as a truth, you know, to say that Jesus was a man, when he knew darn well that Jesus wasn't a man. So they were trying to control the masses, stop the masses from getting into the sacred mushroom, by saying that there really was a man called Jesus, and God really is this guy with long white hair and a beard. When actually we all know also from the Sumerian writings and stuff that God was seen as a penis. And that's why the image of the mushroom is in the image of God, because the penis and the mushroom look the same. It's interesting because in the news at the moment in England, there's a scientist that has been sacked for giving his findings to the government, and the government didn't like his findings, and so they've sacked him. Now the thing is, that's exactly what the church did with John Allegro. They didn't like his findings, so they sacked him, and they tried to discredit him as a crazy man. But this man spent his life studying the Dead Sea Scrolls and languages. He was a professor of languages, he was a scholar. And it's quite easy for the powers that be to discredit him and say that his work is not relevant. Just like they're saying today that this scientist who has been looking at the facts of drugs and the effects of drugs, and he's saying that cannabis is not as harmful as alcohol and tobacco. It's not as life-threatening, and therefore they've gone and pushed him out. And the similarity is again, it's about drugs, isn't it? It's about drugs and the control of drugs on the people so that they can control the people.